Hi. This drive takes us from Te Teko, on State Highway 34, to the little industrial town of Kawerau, where we turn into Islington Street and zigzag along Onslow, Gordon, Grey and Fenton Streets, until we get to the Tarawera River Reserve, and find our way to the Waterhouse Street Bridge. Then we go back up River Road past the high school, until we rejoin the highway and end our drive at the town boundary. If we were to stay on this road, SH34, after we got to Kawerau, then we would eventually rejoin SH30 at Rotoma. Shortly, on the left, we'll see Mount Edgecumbe, an extinct volcano, coming into view. Captain James Cook named the mountain on the 2nd of November 1769. Possibly in honor of John Edgecumbe, the Sergeant of Marines on his vessel, the Endeavour. The mountain's official name is Putauaki. Climbing to the summit takes about 2 hours, and around 1.5 hours to come down. Incidentally, the mount does not sit alongside the town of Edgecumbe, as might be expected, which sometimes confuses people, especially tourists. Kawerau is one of the youngest towns in New Zealand. It was founded in 1953 as a mill town for the new Tasman pulp and paper mill. The Bay of Plenty site for the mill was chosen because of the ready availability of geothermal energy, water from the Tarawera River, and the large supply of pine timber from the Kawerau forest. Kawerau is also home to a power station that uses the geothermal steam to generate electricity for local industry, as well as contributing to the national grid. Unlike most other towns of its size, Kawerau was carefully planned before construction. The town was built with an impressive number of facilities, to accommodate a multinational specialist workforce. The mill continues to be the mainstay of the local economy. The town's population peaked at 8,718 in the 1981 census, but sadly has declined significantly since then, evidence of which you will see. The flyover bridge coming up is a junction with Tarawera Road, which bypasses the town and can take you directly up into the forest and onto the spectacular Tarawera Falls. A permit is needed to use the road within certain hours of the day. People go there for eeling and gathering watercress. Coming up on the right you can see parts of the mill. Today the weather is very pleasant, with a comfortable temperature, but being well inland from the Pacific coastline, Kawerau is often reported as having experienced the highest, or lowest temperatures for the region, compared, say, to Whakatane, sometimes by several degrees. The town does its best to attract visitors and boost the local economy. One event of note being the annual Woodfest, which attracts people from all over New Zealand to take part in physical competitions, display wood carvings, and, of course, woodworking tools and equipment. Examples of competitions include sawing or chopping up logs from some pretty sizable trees. Other events include a King of the Mountain race, the Tarawera motorcycle endurance race, and of course there is white water rafting available within the area. Now we are entering Kawerau, and coming up are some examples of the lovely autumn colors that the town's trees have to offer for a very few weeks each year. But it gets even better when we get closer to the river. By the way, before I forget, I must mention that during the 2021 tsunami alert, many residents of Whakatane sought refuge in Kawerau and were well received by the local community, with places to sit and free refreshments provided. Kawerau, of course, was hit hard by the Edgecumbe earthquake in 1987, and many residents remember the help that they received. Along here on the left, we will leave SH34 and turn into Islington Street, which you might think must be the main street, but it's not, because when it was laid out originally, the large area on the right was designed to accommodate most of the town's commercial enterprises. Indeed, during the early years of the mill's operation, apparently it thrived. However, as changes took place at the mill, requiring less labor, people either had to leave, or exist on state benefits. Consequently, the town went into decline, shops closed, and the heart went out of what had been a grand and innovative attempt to create the perfect commercial center. Sadly, today the central area is but a shadow of its former self. As an example, when we turn at the T-junction coming up, look at the row of mostly boarded up shops on the right. Looking at the skyline, straight ahead, you might have noticed a smaller mountain peak alongside Putauaki. One of many legends has it that Putauaki, being a male mountain, got together with Mount Tarawera, a female, and she produced a son, Ko Putauaki, who sits alongside his father, right there. If we were to cross the bridge, we would effectively be within the Tarawera permit area, and if we continued up Waterhouse Street we would eventually get onto Tarawera Road. This side of the river of course provides for a good long walk amongst the trees, and if you continue upriver, eventually you come to the beautiful Kawerau golf course, which has a couple of rather challenging holes close to the water. We'll head back to River Road now, which will take us back around the town's eastern lines, past the high school on our right, and on to SH34 for a final look at the mill. It's nearly 70 years since Kawerau was created, almost from scratch, because it was needed for this pulp and paper mill to be built. It became a thriving community and people came from all over to build new lives for themselves, in beautiful surroundings and with mod cons. Almost too good to be true, they must have thought. And sadly it wasn't, not for very long anyway.